I can't really say what separates a high stakes player from a world class player because I'm not a world class player. But I think I've heard some world class players say in interviews and things that it's lots of little things and no one big thing. Slightly more accurate play across the board. There's a lot of soft skills that are probably better, like anything from bankroll management to tilt control and just always being focused and playing slightly better against fish, battling slightly better against regs, balancing a little bit better. Now that I've mentioned bankroll management, I just want to emphasize, it's really important. I know I've seen over the years so many winning poker players not be able to stick around because of bankroll management. I've seen it so many times. It's just massively common. So when there is a world-class player, they're going to have really good bankroll management because otherwise they just can't stick around. Even a guy like a Sealder, how many times did he his skills took him to the top and then he just couldn't stay there because of BRM, and he's still in the mix today, but I think over the years he's had to have a lot of staking things and has probably would have done way better with proper bankroll management. On the topic of skills and the ladder of skill and stuff, I'm a believer in I kind of subscribe to if somebody's better than me and they're either they have a higher win rate than I do at the limit or they're playing a higher stake and are beating it more. If they're better than me, they're going to be better pretty much in every single spot that could ever come up. There's just their understanding of the game is better. So when I identify that somebody's better than me, when they explain something, first off, I almost always agree with them. But if I don't, I usually find out later that they were right. When somebody's better, they just know all the spots better. And I'm saying this usually in poker discussions, usually I'm the better player. And it's sometimes tilting when I'm I totally understand a spot. Some 50 NL spot, and I see all the angles to it, and I'm this is the best play, and here's the reason why. And then somebody's but this, and this, and these sims, and it's or maybe they're not even talking about sims, but I see it's hard. It can be hard sometimes. I think I would have a very hard time disagreeing with someone about a spot who was better than me. I would end up just asking them a ton of questions. That would be my approach, I think. Yeah, I mean, the general tendency people usually have is everybody has an opinion and everybody's opinion could be right, and a weaker player could randomly evaluate a hand better than a better player. That's sort of the general consensus, but I have kind of an offbeat opinion where it's very hard to just misevaluate a hand, or to for a better player to randomly evaluate a spot worse than a weaker player. It's very hard for that to happen. The typical thing that happens is people always fall back on this this kind of panacea excuse or defense of their line, which is oh, you just don't play this stake, you don't know how the players play. And that's the biggest horseshit reasoning ever. There's a couple of reasons. One thing is there's 4 problems here. There's so many problems. Thing number 1 is usually the better player. So let's say I'm the better player and I'm arguing with a weaker player. Usually I've played a bunch at that limit in my life and the games have not changed significantly since I was down there. I've played a ton of 10 cent, 25 cent. I've been there. So that's thing number 1. 2, and this is the big one. It's if your reads and assumptions are so accurate that you can make these huge assumptions that you're making that defend your line of play, you should be crushing the fucking games at 15 BB per 100, because if you're able to make such accurate assumptions, you should be a crusher. But usually these guys are not crushers, so it's kind of a defeating thing, I think. Jesus. Greatest plug the world has ever seen. That's a tall order. I'm not very good at plugs. If you're a new viewer, please join my Discord. There's a link below. We've got 500 people in the Discord talking about poker. We have Discord home games. We have hand review. We have a Bad Beats channel. We have a food channel. If you're enjoying the content and you want access to the VODs, or you just want to support me, please subscribe to the stream. I would really appreciate your subscription. Thank you to those that do that. It really helps me out a lot. For one thing, it just gives me a lot of motivation to stream and keep streaming.